Hey there, and welcome back to the HQ. Today, we are going to be reacting to which Punch-Out boxer is the biggest cheater by McFumbles. Now, I have played the original Punch-Out, and I watched a little bit of Punch-Out Wii. So, I know some about Punch-Out. I know, like, the large strokes of it. I don't know the nitty-gritty and the details of it. And I know nothing about the sport of boxing. So I'm very interested in seeing which one is the best, well, the biggest cheater. So let's just jump right in and see which one is the worst of the worst, shall we? Okay.
Punch-Out is one of Nintendo's longest tenured franchises, using
absolutely
as a template for what essentially boils down to a puzzle game but with punches, as all good puzzles should have to put those Poindexters on our level.
That seems like something you'd see in like a wrestling ring. There's people playing chess in the middle of a boxing ring. That looks like something like a comedy promotion would do. Like Pro Wrestling Guerrilla or something.
Of course, Punch-Out isn't something you should take very seriously since you're going up against magical teleporting Indian men, guys wielding staves in the ring, and someone who thinks it's okay to kick in a boxing match. However, all these guys raise a very valid question. How exactly does the governing body of Punch-Out's boxing world define its rule set? The only way these flagrant fouls would be allowed is if there was literally no rule set whatsoever.
I mean, it would seem that way. I mean, like, I've seen some of the characters that exist in Punch-Out, and the kind of stuff they do, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense.
If this is somehow not grounds for at least a point reduction, you're gonna get someone with a knife in their gloves sooner rather than later.
Why is he swinging around like a damn flail?
So, I wanted to see exactly which Punch-Out boxers are breaking which rules of the sweet science. For this, I'll be looking at specifically Punch-Out's Wii reboot from 2009, since not only is it the best looking, it's the most detailed, and will allow us to see what exactly these racist caricatures are doing to one-up the player.
Also, goddamn, Doc Lewis with the back arch. Holy shit.
Speaking of the player, however, Little Mac is probably the best place to start. Given the fact he's your everyman from the Bronx, it's safe to assume that Mac is a pretty standard boxer, and you'd be right.
You know, pretty standard for, like, being 4'11".
Mac is following almost every rule in the Unified Rules of Boxing as established by the Association of Boxing Commissions and Combat Sports.
Okay, so we're using, like, an actual commission to, like, tell us, like, our various rules and stuff.
There are
okay.
A lot of unseens that we can assume are followed, like proper fist wrapping, a clean checkup during
God damn, that's getting his ass kicked in training.
Although getting back health from Doc eating a chocolate bar is up for debate. However, it's not a perfect record. See, Mac is actually breaking one of the most paramount rules in all of boxing.
Oh?
He's only 17.
Oh. Okay. So he is not of age to be boxing then.
These fully grown men are unleashing bear hugs, Hondo rushes, and Dreamland Expresses on someone not even old enough to drink to numb the pain.
Oof.
This would automatically disallow Mac to compete at such a high level of competition and would need him to take another year before professionally fighting. But maybe the WVBA allows him to compete for being a prodigy on Doc Lewis's recommendation? Either way, despite having the fundamentals down, Mac is just not ready. Some other admin I feel I should have...
Okay, so he's just... So the only rule that Mac breaks is just the fact that he is still a kid. Okay. He's a kid getting his ass kicked by a bunch of grown men.
Address is some of the rules of boxing that would automatically disallow these fights from happening. First is weight classes. Mac is 107 pounds, putting him in the light flyweight division. The very first opponent he fights, Glass Joe, is 110 pounds, putting him in the flyweight division. If Mac wants to fight outside his weight class, he's going to need to at least reach the minimum weight for the class he wants to fight in. So he's bulking up to at least 108 pounds. How will he ever manage that? He could stand on his scale a little weirdly. But then you have Bear Hugger, who weighs in at over 400 pounds. That's a weight class so far ahead of Mac's own that it doesn't even exist. He's
That's a big old bear. Big old bear. God damn.
Just heavyweight. Clearly, the WBBA isn't concerned with weight classes and will book freak show fights, which is
clearly
basically everybody except Little Mac. At his weight, it's
Yeah,
very
Little
likely,
Mac is just
unless he
getting
plays the most
mollywopped.
defensive
He's just getting
invasive
stomped.
style
God
he will
damn.
be killed in the ring.
Oh,
Weight
yeah.
classes exist for a reason, and with Little Mac's pitiful reach, he'd never so much as be able to land a hit on anyone.
God.
So, yeah, Mac would realistically never be.
Monster Mac is so freaky. It's just like, why does he just transform into a Hulk? Like, for real, dog.
Able to go against even Disco Kid, who's as far from Mac on the weight chart as possible.
Okay, so funny thing about that. God, the funniest thing, it was Logan Paul's fight, I think. It was Logan Paul's fight. One of the Paul brothers. I'm pretty sure it was Logan Paul. Or Jake Paul. One of the Pauls. Either way, they're both insufferable, and I don't like them. But the guy he was fighting, some of the, where he lost and got KO'd, and then proceeded to complain after about, cheating or something. And the way he was looking at him before he started throwing those punches, I do know about Punch-Out. I do remember back in the day watching the old Game Grumps playthrough of the Punch-Out Wii game, and Disco Kid just doing the here I come and doing the punch. Oh, that look he was giving the Paul fella before he got punched in the mouth, it just screamed Disco Kid to me.
As heavyweight. But let's say, for the sake of this video being made, that Mac could get into the ring. Which of his opponents is breaking the most rules? First up is Glass Joe, D- in human form. This poor son of a gun is 99 in the hole with only a single win to his name.
I wonder if that's just a commentary on the French. Because, I mean, the French do kind of, except for when Napoleon was in charge, which, Napoleon is, learning about Napoleon in history class, which does remind me, I have to get around to watching the oversimplified video about the French Revolution and Napoleonic Wars, because I remember only, large swaths of that era from my world history class when I was in early high school, late middle school. But I do remember him being a fairly competent general, so I am curious about that. But outside of that, France just loses every war they're in. And then they have, overthrows of their government not long after. So maybe that's why he's 0-99.
Granted, that win is against Nick Bruiser, former world heavyweight champion, so he's probably still riding that buzz.
Oh.
All the way down to the mat. Everything about Joe is frankly
wow,
up
how
to
do you get
par.
that win?
Gloves, trunks, boots, corner behavior is all up to snuff. However, where we do have to mark an infraction is in his title defense match. Exclusive to Punch-Out Wii is Title Defense Mode, where you go up against the same 13 boxers in the base game with enhanced movesets to make them championship material.
Okay, that's interesting.
A pillow tied to his head. In his intro cutscene after his 100th loss, it's shown that his doctor is so scared for his safety that he won't let him compete without headgear.
So he's so pitiful as a boxer. He's so pitiful as a boxer that he had to get head protection when he boxes, otherwise he will die of a concussion. There is no doubt in my mind that this man absolutely has so much severe head trauma. God damn, I can't even imagine. Glass Joe probably has the thing that football players have after they get hit one too many concussions. That's probably what Glass Joe has.
Now this is a very, very big infraction, possibly the biggest that you could get. Headpieces in boxing are strictly forbidden, as you're cushioning one of the most easily punchable parts of the body. The only way that headgear is allowed is if both boxers get it. But Little Mac doesn't. If Joe's taking reduced damage from headshots, he has an unfair
He makes a
advantage.
big point to readjust his headgear.
Totally sure I can count this.
Yeah, CTE, that's what I was thinking of.
If you lose 100 times, you get a headgear that you can wear during matches that will reduce damage. Now, I will say that if you've taken 100 KO losses in professional fights, a headgear now is about as effective as a mommy kiss on a decapitation, but it raises an interesting question.
Yeah, that's a pretty apt way to describe it. If you take that many L's, at that point you just got to retire, man. Just take the money that you get from your L's, from your appearance fees, and just retire, dude.
Was fighting with this because he has to. Does it count as an infraction? I mean, he literally can't fight without it thanks to his doctors in the WBBA, so is it wrong? Yes, it is. Unless Mac is also wearing one, you can't wear headgear. Now, if Mac also loses 100 times and wears it, it's all up to Borg. Until he does, though, he's got 1 infraction against him.
Well, that's, so that's Glass Joe and his infractions. And basically, it's just like a doctored, mandated headgear. So it's like, is it really an infraction? I mean, like, I guess if they make special exceptions, but at that point, I feel like the boxing association would just make it to where he just can't box anymore and tell him to stop or not let him box if he has that much like trauma from head injury. Sorry, had to mute my mic. I had a nasty cough coming.
Von Kaiser comes next, and
Von
given the fact
Kaiser
he's
time.
shown being bullied by kids, I think Mac will do just fine. Kaiser seems totally up to Borg, just like Joe. However, it's time to bust out a rule you might not have even...
Okay, real talk though. I love how every character in the Punch-Out Wii game has like their own like version of like the Punch-Out theme and like various like instrumental versions based off of their demeanor, their country, like their nationality, all that stuff. I love that whole thing. I love it.
Thought about. Kaiser's pants are actually the big problem.
Oh?
In boxing, it's required that you wear loose-fitting trunks that extend no further than the knees to better show off potential low blows.
Oh.
Kaiser is not only wearing them below his knees, he's got them tucked into his boots.
Oh,
That's
yeah,
an
that's
infraction right there.
a no-go.
Given that you've seen his status as a boxing teacher, it's pretty safe to say that he's got no other major oversights in his boxing style.
Okay, so the only thing he has going is his pants. So if he gets low blowed and the doctor can't and the ref can't really discern if it was or wasn't a low blow because of his pants, it's kind of on him. Kind of on him.
Disco Kid is after him, and as I said before, this guy is massively out
4
of
and
Mac's league.
12.
Literally, he's double Mac's own weight. At first,
4
I
and
thought the
12.
Disco Ball in his intro could count as an outside electronic, which you can't have, but upon closer inspection, it's more likely than not a part of the bombed-out ghetto gym that these fights take place in.
Very
It's
likely,
a professional
yeah.
fighting arena on Mondays and Thursdays, and senior bingo on the weekends. However, you can nail him for using headphones in the corner. He could very easily be receiving outside illegal advice through those.
Oh.
There's just no way to know. However, the biggest
Okay.
defense is in his title defense fight, where he
Oh.
forgoes the boxing shorts for a fashion-forward leotard.
Oh.
Fitting in with his lifestyle choice to take up boxercising, it's also bananas illegal.
Bananas
Boxing, you have a
illegal.
clear line of demarcation between your trunks and your chest with the seam of your boxing shorts.
Oh.
It also needs to
Huh.
contrast as to let your opponent know where would count as a low blow.
Oh, wow. There is a lot of like dress code stuff involved in boxing then, huh? It's interesting. I thought it was just like actions in the ring, but no, you got like a whole dress code system going on. At that point, they might as well just like the venues might as well just have like their own like provided like uniforms at this point.
He's not even wearing pants! Disco Kid is asking for low blows and he has nobody to blame but himself.
Oh,
Disco
yeah.
Kid comes out swinging with a record-setting 2 infractions.
I mean, so far it's not too bad. It's just like illegal headgear because of too much head trauma and some like dress infractions, so it can't be like all that
Here's
bad.
hoping he doesn't get immediately...
Oh!
Yeah, there's a lot to unpack with King Hippo. Probably one of the most iconic boxers in the franchise, King Hippo is
Immediate.
also lousy with rule breaks. Before the fight even starts, King Hippo's weight, height, and nationality are all unknown. By that logic, it's safe to say that he did not come to the required weigh-in and hasn't gotten a proper US-sanctioned boxing license. Please.
Okay, yeah, that will definitely do it. That'll definitely do it. The fact that there's all of these unknowns about him. Like, I don't know much about the Boxing Association. If it's anything like the Wrestling Association that used to govern wrestling before Vince McMahon took kayfabe out and shot it back behind the shed, I would 100%. Because, I was super into wrestling for a long time, if you didn't know. But yeah, I would super guess that they wouldn't even let him step foot in the ring. But then again, he looks like an 8-foot-tall mountain man who eats people. So they probably don't want to mess with him.
Of origin cannot be up to interpretation. Before punches even
Yeah, this
drop,
isn't
he's
the
already broken
WWE.
two
He
rules.
can't be from
The
parts
delegates of the fight,
unknown.
Instantly we got a violation for head covering. That funny little crown may look good in marketing, but you don't get to take it into the ring with you.
Yeah.
However, for the rest of the fight, he somehow manages to keep it clean, save for his pants falling down. But that's a more public indecency thing than a boxing thing.
Yeah.
In his title defense mode, however, we've got
Oh.
a bigger issue to deal with.
This
His crown is
bigger.
back and actually
Big
bigger
man.
this time, But the real issue to discuss is what's going on with his stomach. He's wearing body armor! Would you believe me if I said that the covering for a man's hole isn't the only problem here? Only in
The
minor
manhole?
fights are you allowed to have tape on your body. That's why the big X over his tummy is legal. In a world championship fight, you can't have tape on your person. So taping the manhole covering is a whole new rule break.
Okay, so on top of having body armor in the form of a manhole, the fact that he taped it on is also an infraction. And also the even bigger crown.
King Hippo manages to break 5 different rules in his fights and puts him well ahead of the rest of the pack.
5 rule breaks. Only 5.
With him, we get the most up-to-bar boxer thus far. Literally, the only thing you can get him on is his headband.
Yeah.
That's because it's a head covering and it might allow punches to slide off easier.
Yep, another head
Other
covering.
than that, Hondo's playing the exact same game you are.
Okay.
This is even a problem exclusive to
Wow.
the Wii version, because in the original, he fights without a headband.
Huh.
Sadly, though, he's been barred from competition for the most heinous crime that a boxer, nay, a human can commit.
Oh?
Pirating manga. After him is...
So he's just sitting there straight up reading Sailor Moon. And they didn't get the license for that. So it's just like illegal images of Sailor Moon in the Punch-Out game. Okay. Also, Jesus Christ, this man is like, dude, I have a few Canadian friends. I need to ask them, is this a proper representation of Canadians? Like, look at this man. He is chugging that maple syrup. He has got big ol' eggs and sausage and bacon and waffles. God damn, I could eat the shit out of that, dog. I could. Like, it'd probably take more than one sitting, but I could do that. 100%.
Bear Hugger, and given the fact the game was made by a Canadian
Bear
studio,
Hugger.
you'd think they make this rep one of the more noble ones. There's a lot to it.
Okay. I mean, at least they're consistent whenever it comes to making very hilariously stereotypical caricatures of various racial stereotypes and national stereotypes and stuff like that. At least they're consistent.
Back with Bear Hugger. First is his attire. Just like Von Kaiser, you gotta be showing off those knees.
Yeah.
Also, like Disco, there's no distinct line between
Yeah,
his
he's
upper
wearing
and lower
overalls
body.
and not
Not to
shorts.
mention, in title defense, he's got a head covering too in the form of his hat. Now let's get on to the wholly unique infractions. He's got far too bushy a beard. In boxing, you need to either be clean-shaven or have well-groomed facial hair, and certainly no beards are allowed. Something like that acts as a cushion for the jaw.
Okay, so you can't have big bushy beards then, because that's more illegal padding. It's the same thing as like a head covering.
Between rounds, he's also chugging on maple syrup and taking naps. This covers 2 whole new infractions. The consumption of anything other than water while in the corner that you may associate with a certain someone else, and not taking the fight seriously. Not only is it disrespectful, but it's also a breaking of the rules.
So you can't be disrespectful.
He's not fighting alone. Bear Hugger brings a squirrel with him into the ring for title defense.
He's got a little squirrel. He's got a little squirrel in boxing gloves. I tell you, if I was a boxer, if I was a boxer in Punch-Out, you'd see me running out there, I'd just have like a little rat. A little rat just pop up out of my chest with a pair of boxing gloves, taking pot shots. That's what I'd be doing. Like I'm playing by Punch-Out rules. You're not gonna catch me lacking. Like, I'm gonna have gloves on my hands, a glove on the end of my tail, and then a little rat popping out of my top with a pair of boxing gloves, throwing some haymakers, like, pa, pa, boom.
Let's ignore the animal cruelty because it's shown that the squirrel gave consent.
It's shown that the squirrel gave consent.
Oh my god. Generational quote. Generational quote. Oh my god. I'm gonna screenshot that for later. I gotta screenshot that for later. I just had to. Oops, sorry about that. I just had to screenshot that for a minute.
And instead focus on the rule of boxing that only the fighters and the ref can enter the ring. You can't do tag team boxing despite how cool that sounds.
Oh, that would be cool,
Bear Hug
honestly.
overall commits 7 different rule breaks in the ring. Boy, I sure hope he isn't immediately shown up.
Oh.
This one's just weird. Let's get the elephant out of the room for now and just deal with him later.
Yeah.
First off is the obvious head covering. Can't do that. Also, he's wearing full pants rather than boxing trunks. It's blasé at this point.
Yeah,
Also,
some
the
pretty
last boxer
standard.
to break this rule, since from here on out we're all playing fair in the pants game.
Huh. So basically, the first couple of infractions are just like the standard stuff. No head coverings, no pants. Though, considering the fact that he's obviously like Hindu Indian, it does make me wonder if the head covering, if that's covered by like religious reasons or something like that. It does make me wonder, because, I mean, I don't know. Maybe, I don't know.
He also leaves the ring at points, which is incredibly illegal, which he can only do because of...
Oh.
No, let's just get it over with. Now,
Oh.
in the unified rules of boxing, there isn't anything exactly outlawing the use of magic, but at the same time, I feel like it's only because Evander Holyfield never tried a fucking cup and ball trick in the middle of a match. So he's obviously cheating with the use of magic, but it's not that easy.
Obviously.
Essentially, I need to
Obviously.
fly here. Do I penalize him under each different class of magic used? Do I penalize him once under the broad umbrella of magic usage in general? Are clones counted as outside influences despite the fact that they're the same guy? If the clones can't do damage to Lil Mac, are they a threat? Ultimately, it came down to this. I'm handing out an infraction for the teleportation, one for the floating, and I'll give him an infraction equal to the maximum amount of clones he uses in one fight. Which
Okay.
is in his Mirage Dance, where he uses a clone in the back and one to try to pincer you. So I'm giving him an overall 4 infractions for the usage of magic.
Okay, so we're just making up things as we go. And we're just making up things as we go. And just giving him infractions for magic then. Okay. Because there are technically no rules that say you can't use magic in a boxing ring. Just like there's no rules that says that a dog can't play basketball.
That lands Tiger with 8 infractions when you add.
Which does make me wonder
carpet, which again,
if
isn't
we're
covered in
considering
rules,
the
but
Air
I'm
Bud
just
rule.
Pretty confident about it. Call it a hunch.
I call it the
As a
Air
breath
Bud
of
rule.
Fresh air, Don Flamenco only gets 2 infractions, with the
Oh?
first being for the toupee that he wears during matches. That's a head covering, and as unlikely as strike to the top of the head is, and no matter how little it covers, an infraction is still an infraction.
My man is
However,
self-conscious about his
second one is
hair.
the one that you might not have even seen coming.
Oh?
In his mid-match corner rests, he'll spritz himself with perfume.
Oh.
There are actually a few reasons that this is illegal. First off, the use of an aerosol can be used as an irritant for the other boxer, as the scent can disorient them. And
Yeah.
the actual perfume applied can cause the gloves to slip off.
Okay, yeah. So, irritating somebody's sense of smell, their overall senses and whatnot. And then also potentially adding additional moisture to your face that make punches land a little less evenly. Okay, I can see it then. I can see
Key
it.
amongst these facts is that in the corner, only an adrenaline solution, Avitine, and Thrombin are allowed to be applied. Unless the
Oh.
thing is filled with liquid adrenaline, he can't have it. I'm also iffy on if this counts as magic, but I'm willing to let it slide as it's outside of the fight. Recreational magic is fine.
Recreational
Thankfully, it looks like the worst of the
magic.
cheaters are behind us as we move on to the World
Okay.
Circuit. Who's next exactly? Oh, fuck that. Soda
Oh.
Popinski is next, and let's just get the obvious one out of the way.
Just
to start off
skipping
with.
him.
Just like Bear Hugger's syrup, you can't drink soda while in the corner.
Yeah.
He brings a whole new level of cheating by doing it in the middle of a match. Not only does this already fall under the previously explained rule, but he's also
Yeah.
bringing foreign objects into the ring.
Yeah,
Not
this
to mention
is
he's
not
a
the
sloppy drinker,
WWF.
and by getting
No.
soda onto his chest, he's applying an illegal substance to his body. I'm sure
Yep,
you know how
more
sticky
illegal
soda can be,
substances.
so imagine
Oh,
trying to
yeah.
punch someone drenched in it.
Oh, yeah. I've been covered in soda on more than one occasion. I think the worst time was when I was hanging out. It was at like a little bonfire with some friends of mine a couple years ago. And I was kind of going through a bit of a cold and sneezing. I took a big old drink of Dr. Pepper. Specifically, it was Dr. Pepper, so you know how bad this is going to be. And mouthful of Dr. Pepper. And I feel the little tickle. I'm like, oh shit, swallow, swallow, swallow. I don't get it in time. I sneeze. I shoot Dr. Pepper out of my nose, all down my shirt. My sinuses are now full of Dr. Pepper. It stings. It sucks. And oh my God, it was the worst experience of my entire life. 0 out of 10. Do not recommend.
But now for the big one, as he's the only boxer
That we know of.
that's
Oh.
doping. We see doctors making him special soda in a lab that lets him pull a truck with his teeth.
That does track for the Russians. That does track for Russia. I'm just saying. Russian athletes, there's a reason why there's always so much scrutiny on Russia anytime there's like a global performance, like a global like sporting event like this, especially the Olympics, because they do love, especially back in the days of the Soviet Union, they do love to try to make their people seem larger than life by doping them.
And he's guzzling 18 bottles of this stuff in a match in his title defense intro.
Jesus
Doping is one of the most
Christ.
frowned upon things to do in sports, and to do it in front of a crowd at the expense of innocent Fanta is almost admirable.
Isn't it innocent
Bumble comes
Fanta?
next, and with a head shaped like that, you can imagine he's gotten a few broken rules under his belt.
Oh,
For starters,
yeah.
Between rounds, he's shown applying hot towels to himself, which, given the rules of boxing, he can't do. You can
Oh.
only apply a cold towel to yourself if you want to use one, but maybe it could be a cold towel and he's just so hot from boxing that he's steaming?
I mean, maybe? I mean, the way I see it, Bald Bull is like the hot-blooded boxer. I don't know, like, I was gonna say like hot-blooded Bulgarian. Is he from Bulgaria? I don't know. But like, you know, he's just so hot that he applies like an ice-cold towel to him and it starts steaming. So, you know, that's probably what's going on here.
Willing to give him that one, but one I can't budge on is his rage issues.
Oh.
Bumble just sort of rampages and wins fights by accident rather than on purpose. As such, after winning the title in title
Yeah,
defense mode,
like,
he's
that's
so blind with
valid.
rage that he attacks the ref, throwing him out of the ring. That doesn't just get you
Yeah.
a penalty, that gets you banned for life.
Oh, yeah.
As well, when he's in the corner, he's shown lifting weights, something I'm not exactly sure on the legality of, leaning on the side of no, but when you get to the point that you start hucking them into the crowd, I feel like that's enough to get the ref to ask you to leave.
Yeah, that's definitely a big no-go there. That you're gonna be throwing shit into the crowd? No.
Super Macho Man comes
Woo!
next, and with him he brings a ton
Super
of infractions.
Macho
One of
Man.
mine too, so that's good for him, I guess. First off is the gold.
God, one of my favorite videos on the internet is the one, it's by Salty DK Dan, and it's just him, like, playing, it's one that he made, and it's like a Super Macho Man fan cam, and he has the Super Macho Man. Like, it's like SMP stands for Super Macho Man, and when he turns around and does like the butt flex, it has the fucking fart with reverb sound effect, and it is the funniest thing on the planet. It is so funny.
Chain and earrings that he wears. Boxing rules
Yeah.
dictate that you can't have any piercings, and you need to take
Yeah,
them
no
out before the
jewelry.
fight
No
starts.
jewelry. I mean,
Speaking
that's
of
just dangerous
attire,
for
he's
you,
constantly
too, 'cause that shit can
personal
get ripped
branding,
off.
which is strictly forbidden.
Oh.
Along with that, in between rounds, he's taking questions from the press, which
So you can't have like your own branding on your shorts? Then why let people take their own like equipment into the ring anyway if they can't like put their branding on it? I don't know. It's weird.
violates rules regarding press distance from the ring, allowing them only on specific sides of the ring from a certain distance.
Okay, so
On
that
top
seems
of
like
that,
more like
he's
a
got personal
rule
electronic with him in the camera
from
that he's
the
taking
press.
selfies with.
Also
Then
that.
there's the foreign object he brings into the ring when he puts sunglasses on to try to hit the Super Macho clothesline. Speaking of which, I think it's fair to say that there's a little bit of a chance that there's outside interference. The flash photography only gets good when he goes for the clothesline, and him putting on the glasses acts as a signal to the audience members to start flashing their bulbs to mess with Little Mac. And
Yeah, that seems like something that would happen. Super Macho Man deserves to be more to be in like a wrestling ring than boxing, really. He would be an excellent wrestler, very poor boxer.
then, presumably thinking that that was a little too subtle of a cheat, he just cold clocks the ref. However, this is also a time where there's a non-fighter that gets a rule penalty.
Once
As in title
again,
defense mode,
you
the
know,
lighting manager will earn an infraction by discriminating against Macho Man and not shining the light on him. It doesn't matter if they're fighting, it's still a penalty that's boxing related.
Okay. So then that's an employee of the actual venue getting sacked for that then, huh?
Finally is Mr. Sandman, the world champ, and there's a reason. This guy's entire strategy is sound, completely and utterly. Makes sense since this guy isn't a
Absolutely.
cartoon character like the rest. He's a boxer.
Yeah.
The most you could levy against him is the fact
Mr.
that in title
Sandman.
events, there isn't a clear line of demarcation between his waistband and trunks. They're both black, so it could be difficult, but the different texture used and the fact that the stripes on the side of the trunks stop at the waist could be enough.
Yeah, I would say that's probably enough. I mean, it's very obviously a different like texture from like the loose fabric of the shorts and then like the tight elastic. Plus the fact that the side stripes do stop at the waistband. I think that's enough of a clear demarcation. I would say so anyway.
No one in the WBBA wants to tell me can't wear his trunks like that. I'm gonna say it's less of a violation and more of a please go and change if that's okay, Mr. Champion, sir.
Yeah.
I was putting this one off because the highest amount of infractions thus far is Great Tiger with 8.
Oh.
This boxer has 19.
Oh!
Aaron Ryan is the first boxer in the world circuit and was made to represent the typical dirty boxer. But they didn't have to go this far with it.
Huh?
Aaron Ryan may be a fellow countryman, but that doesn't mean I'm gonna let slip what he tries to pull. Starting off,
he's Irish, okay.
Boxers have been getting their gloves the standard way. In a professional boxing fight, boxers get their gloves provided by the venues. However, because Aaron Ryan's using loaded gloves, he's clearly bringing them from home. On top of that, we know that he wraps his fists properly, but yet again, that's something that he did at home, and it wasn't inspected by the ref. Bringing these things from home and not having them inspected is 4 penalties already.
Okay, so already he's just breaking, like, routine infractions.
That's not to mention the little fact that he has loaded horseshoes in his boxing glove.
Also, yeah, that.
Little Mac at this
loaded horseshoe gloves.
Throwing out the classic boxing cheats. Trying to throw elbows and headbutts at Little Mac, as well as jumping off the rope for that headbutt. Including that, he's also shown potentially trying to throw the fight by allowing Mac to get free hits in. Literally asking him to hit him. No ref would allow that.
God, he is just a wrestler. He's not even a boxer. This guy is a wrestler. He is like your typical heel. He is like made to be booed. He is the Dominic Mysterio of this boxing ring.
That's not it, as Aaron Ryan also attempts to attack Mac before the bell sounds between rounds, and in doing such, throws the ref away. That's one of the biggest no-nos.
Holy hell, that look.
Nearly 24 infractions that Aaron Ryan accrues. Another thing to note is that there's a difference in the rules regarding intent to cheat and actually cheating.
The only thing I know about him is how whenever you go down, he asks you if you have cheeseburgers in those gloves. Which, that would still be kind of dangerous. I mean, especially if it's a frozen cheeseburger. God damn.
If you load your gloves, that's 1 strike. Actually, throwing a punch is a different one entirely.
Yeah,
however,
like,
this is all
that,
before his biggest
these just add up then.
Title defense mode. Not only does he steal Mac's gloves from the minor circuit after breaking his old ones, he then goes on to fashion his old gloves into a flail! So obviously, bringing a weapon into the ring as well as using that weapon are illegal, but that's not even it. The glove he's using as a flail is old and ragged, and the rules state that if a glove is in such bad condition, it should be replaced by the venue. So even cheating is cheating. Even more.
It's just more adding up.
One more swing with his weapon, and when a fighter is going down, they can't throw any more punches. The ref
it's just adding up more and more.
And finally, Ryan is also seen inciting and fighting with the crowds to the point that they start throwing stuff into the ring. It's almost admirable how much cheating he manages to sneak into a fight that probably won't take that long. It's not even close that Aaron is cheating twice as hard as the next 2 biggest cheaters combined. And they were bringing in squirrels, clones, and magic. Aaron Ryan,
God damn, Aaron Ryan. God, dude.
Banned from competition. He's gonna be killed at this rate.
Oh yeah. Aaron Ryan is nutty, dog.
The WBBA is going to have a hell of a lot of paperwork to go through to clear up these infractions.
Absolutely.
And without these cheaters, the league would probably be like 3 people, and one of those people would be Glass Joe, and that's not much of a league. So
yeah.
Please accept my proposal for a new Little Mac design to line up with the rest of these flagrant rule breakers. So, as you can see here that, I gave him a gun.
Just give him the blicky. Ah. Is it weird of me that I have the autistic knowledge to already know what this background is from? The fact that it is just straight up just chemical plant zone? I really do just have the most autistic knowledge ever. So that was the cheaters in Punch-Out. And holy heck, Aaron Ryan. He is just breaking rules upon rules upon rules upon rules. It just gets so nutty, dog. Like, dude, it is so It's like you have people like doing like clones and bringing animals with boxing gloves in there, and they're just fighting like that. And then you just have this guy who's like your standard dirty boxer who's just doing all of this stuff, and he outbeats them 2-1. God, let me know what you thought about that in the comments below. Who's your favorite boxer in Punch-Out? Who? Let me know down in the comments below. Don't forget to hit like on the video, of course, and subscribe to the channel, and ding that bell so you know when I upload, and it helps me out in the algorithm. And as always, I will see you next time at the HQ. Bye-bye.